let's jump into 1990 because you're going into the race as world champion. Did the Course of the Rainbow jersey, did that exist back then?
The what?
The Course of the Rainbow jersey, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course. And that was, I had my philosophy at that time because I won the world championships when I was 22. And, up until then, you're just a racer. And I got the benefit of not, being a Tour de France winner. I think that's the pressure that comes with the Tour de France or, becoming a star is the press, the demands on your time. And I remember 1983, I just got inundated with demands. I didn't know how to say no. And, I just kind of got burned out a little bit after the Worlds just from the demands. And that meant I was a little fatigued for training. And I didn't enter the season like I normally would. I mean, just slightly up, but sometimes you start slightly up. You're chasing it, conditioning, and it eventually catches up. But in 1989 to 1990, I won the Worlds. And I guess I would say I had the curse because the crazy thing is I signed what they call a world, at the time, the highest paid rider at the time. I signed for $2 million a year over 3 years. That's $6 million, a lot of money. I smile because I think Stephen Roach probably doesn't know this, but I think he's the one who really caused the rise in salaries because when I turned pro from Renault to La Vie Claire with Bernard Tapie, he announced I got $1 million contract. Well, he didn't say it was over 3 years. So that's $333,000. I don't know if this is true because I just heard that when Roche won it, the Tour, I think assumed that I was making $1 million. I think he demanded $1 million. I think he got paid that. And so that's kind of the rise of the salary. So when I won in 1989, it was interesting because this is more money I ever dreamed of. And I had Toshiba, who was my old team. They offered, I think, 3 or 4, but I can't remember, way more than teams, they called Team Z. But they're the ones who also let me go after I got shot. And I'm like, I'll never go back to those people. But anyways, I signed my contract. And in cycling at the time, it's just like, you never talked about money. And they felt like, God, you're going to make that much money, you're going to lose interest in cycling. You're getting soft. So that winter, of course, I'm so excited about winning the Tour. And somehow I got caught Epstein-Barr, chronic fatigue. And I started the season just wiped out. And I didn't know what was wrong with me. And I could barely finish a race. And of course, that was the curse of the rainbow jersey. But there was worse than that. It was basically Greg's gotten soft. He doesn't care about racing. He's made so much money. Well, I hadn't made any money at that point because I still had to earn it in that season.
Yeah.
So I came back in April of 1990 and I spent 4 or 5 weeks riding very little. And I ended up getting better by May. I felt better. Sometimes when you have a virus and you're racing, you never take the time to fully recover. You're never letting your immune system kind of get over things. And so I started the Giro d'Italia that year, and I decided I'm going to do a gruppetto the whole time. I was, really decided not going to push myself. And I got done with that race and felt better. Then I got the Tour of Switzerland, felt even better. But I entered the 1990 Tour where I wasn't close to my 89, but definitely not close to my condition in 1991 or in 86. But
strange to say an underdog as the defending champion and also world champion going into the race, but you definitely weren't as hyped. When I was looking at the
they wrote me off. Everybody wrote me off. Yeah.
Which I think adds to the story as this tour develops. But one thing I really noticed in the 1989, the dramatic Champs-Élysées time trial, it's much documented. You used the aero kit. Fignon didn't use a lot of aero kit. Maybe that was the difference. Maybe this, saddle sore and large testicle, whatever it is. But in 1990,
it's not the saddle sore and large testicle. 100%.
You don't think it is?
Not that. No, he was third place in the time trial, and I would say that I told him this. I said, if you had the tri-bars, I believe you would have won. I absolutely believe that because
Guimard still thinks it was the enlarged testicle.
He was third place. No doubt that probably impacted him, but I think what impacted him more was Guimard yelling at him that he was falling behind. You could see him panicking and pushing himself to the limit. Just time trials are about push yourself just at your limit, but not going over. But at the same time, you can argue that Guimard and Renault had a better team. I was no teammates. They had a 2 or 3 minute lead just after the team time trial. So you can argue all these when you lose it. And I still remember doing an interview with Fignon. We were in the Briançon at the Tour de France, I think 2009 or something like that. And he kept saying, I lost 12 seconds. This is where I lost it. I lost 12 seconds here. And I said, no, you didn't. You lost it because Guimard didn't believe the triathlon bars. Had you used those, I believe you would have won. And I said, the irony, though, Guimard truly was the leader of aerodynamics. They used the Formula One, Renault from the wind tunnel. We had deep dish wheels, just like you see today, that are carbon, but out of aluminum. We had aerodynamic tubes. I would bet that some of the equipment we had back then is equally as fast as a lot of stuff today. If you look at look at the helmets that we used in 1984, go back and we had a much more aerodynamic helmet than I used in 1989. In fact, Guimard, I think it was 84, we showed up, at least there was one bike with a fairing off the back, and it was refused because they added like huge aerodynamic fairing off the back of the seat. So when I kind of smiled when Fignon kept trying to find reasons, I said, the leading aerodynamic person, Guimard, decided you couldn't breathe off of those. Obviously, he had the bars. He had the bars during the tour. So, but that is a part of the beauty of cycling. It's not just, it's about choosing your equipment. Aerodynamic is always important. So is weight to power weight ratio. So it was always important. So I kind of look at it, I think it was a great tour because both of us were so close. But I would say that he was probably stronger than me for certain in some of the big stages. But at the same time, I look back and I go, I had no teammates, and you realize that how much energy you waste by yourself. So at the end of the day, it zeroes out. And no matter what, it's who crosses the finish line first that matters.
What was your relationship like with Fignon? Because I remember the day we'll get on to 1990 in a minute, but just to finish on 89, I remember the day you lost yellow in the 1989 tour, and Fignon was mouthing to the press that evening about how you didn't respect the jersey and you didn't ride like a leader. And then later on in the race, he's talking about how on Alpe d'Huez, when you cracked, I feel like the tour is won today, and he's toasting champagne like on the train the day before the TT in Paris, which just to me seems totally not even just bizarre, but disrespectful.
Well, Guimard denies it because I think there was an interview on The Last Rider, I think. Yeah, Last Rider. He doesn't remember, but I remember. And but that same stage that Fignon was complaining about that I wasn't respecting the jersey. First of all, I got the jersey. Second of all, I had a team that wasn't with me in the mountains. I was by myself. And the third point is I hadn't been in the front of the peloton since 1986. So I was nervous as hell to be in the mountains. And obviously, I was at my limit because it did take 10 seconds out of me. So one thing I know is I race smart tactically. I didn't let my ego get the best of me. And Fignon just had a weird personality. I liked Fignon. But when he did well in races, his head expanded. He became very cocky. And when you get cocky, you lose races. And I think he lost the race because he was overconfident. When he tapped me on the shoulder the day before the final time trial, I said, "Congratulations on your second place." I said, "Right there, you've lost." Because I knew that the time trial was very short, and he'd come in there a little cocky, and probably start off slow. And I knew that I had to take time on him the first kilometer. But Fignon, complex character. I mean, I think he had a lot of, I got ripped apart. When I got shot, I got letters saying I deserved. I shouldn't have been. Now you know what a turkey feels like, and shouldn't have been racing. And then Belgian headquarters, the guy who eats pizza and hamburgers and golf got what he deserved. He shouldn't have been hunting. Well, okay. But I was a very optimistic person, and I never let that stuff get to me. And I think Fignon, after winning 2 tours, he struggled for years. And I think there are probably a lot of negative articles written about him. And he took that anger and put it back at the journalist. And to me, that's sad because even for him to be that impacted for losing, you learn to lose in bike racing. Winning such an a rare occasion relative to the amount of racing you do. So it's always struck me as odd that it devastated him that much because I think psychologically he felt like he was the best rider, let's just say in 83 and 84. But I also look at nobody was there truly to compete against him in 83, 84. I was not great. Was just coming back. But in his mind, he was as good as anybody. And then he suffered through 85 and 86. And then when he came back, I think it was like an ego deal. I'm the best. And he was angry at everybody. And I think it's sad because he held that much anger for so many years. And more tragically, I heard from a good friend of his that after he lost the Tour in 89, he never went back to the Champs-Élysées and for years would count as he walked 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, 1,004 to 8 seconds. And, I feel bad for him because I would have been happy with the second place that year. I mean, I came from, that's the thing. I don't think Fignon even understood where I came back from either. I mean, he had a tendon injury that took him, I took him years to get over. I mean, I literally have 50 lead pellets in me still, 2 in my heart, 3 in my liver, and have chronic lead poisoning, and right lung collapsed. And I went from 148 pounds to 118 pounds. And it was all muscle mass I lost. And so I had to come back from there. And I was just happy to be at that tour.
Do you feel a little sad for Fignon that his legacy is largely, even though he won the Tour de France twice, his legacy is the guy who lost the Tour de France by 8 seconds?
Oh, I do. I mean, and I've had good conversations, good times with Fignon afterwards. I mean, I went back in 96, a candy company called Haribo invited us over. We drove a Formula One car, played golf in this event. And I got along with him. I met him a couple other times at the tour, but I have to say, it's like I'd be standing side by side to him and you see a French guy come up, "Great, félicitations, congratulations." And then he'd look at Fignon, "How could you lose by 8 seconds?" It was awkward, very awkward for me. I mean, I felt bad for him. And, but sadly, somebody's going to lose that day. Yeah. It would have been me or him. And I think, that, it's hard to go back and but I think the devastation was the confidence that he wanted. I mean, he already had it. It's like he probably feels robbed because he had felt like he is home free, but he lost
the confidence. Almost felt like insecurity, though, looking back on it. Looking at those interviews now and knowing how it panned out, they actually don't seem the words of a confident person to me. They seem the words of someone who's very insecure and who's almost trying to play this, poor Muhammad Ali mind games with a competitor.
Oh, I think during the tour, yeah. I think that's Fignon. I think what I've been able to read and understand, he was a very shy person. And so he was very awkward at times. And I think, if you're shy, then all of a sudden you have a lot of confidence from your victories. I think that's why I said, his personality changed. But he did. I mean, he was trying to psychologically, the verbal battle after the, me not leading the tour was a kind of a mind game. That's what I forgot to say, though, is at the end of that stage in Super Bagnères, he was ripping me. And the next morning I said, "Laurent, on, I think it was the Tourmalet or the next climb, I saw you holding onto a motorcycle." And at that time, they put a rule in because there were a lot of people, the gruppetto, we call them, they had their left arm or the right arm was 10 inches longer because you're holding on to cars, and it was an automatic disqualification of the Tour de France. I said, "Laurent, had an official seen you wouldn't even be sitting here talking to me." And he held on to get him over an earring. And that's something I would never have done. I don't care how bad I was doing. I mean, if I was
especially as a GC rider, like whatever about, we could debate the merits for a gruppetto, but for a GC rider to be holding on, that's like totally unacceptable.
Yeah, absolutely. And he never criticized me after that. Because I said, you want to play a war game? I mean, word war game. I'll be glad to talk about that. So, I mean, it got, but anyways, it was a fascinating tour because it was, even at that point, I kind of was aware of Fignon's own kind of demons. I was with him on 1984 Tour de France, and I liked Fignon. I liked him. I think we were, even in 84, 83, we were all these young riders. He was a very ambitious rider. I think, and I don't think he knew how talented he was until he got on the Tour in 83 and 84. And when you taste victory like the Tour, it's hard to go back and go out and race another time Tour de France and not be on the podium. It's very difficult. Yeah. I think he went from winning 2 tours to not.
We are so excited to announce that we are partnering with Whoop. Whoop are changing the game when it comes to wearable technology and health monitoring. Whoop is a wearable health and fitness coach that provides you with feedback and actionable insights into your sleep, your recovery, your training, your stress, and your overall health. Sarah and I have been using Whoop for years, and we love the insights it provides into our body's inner workings. It really gives us a look under the hood. And you're going to see Mathieu van der Poel, Richard Carapaz, and other elite level cyclists wearing Whoop, but it isn't just for those superstars. All the data is personalized to your unique physiology and fitness levels. If you're interested in taking control of your health and your fitness so that you can excel in all aspects of your life, you have to go and check out Whoop. Go to the URL now, which is join.whoop.com/roadman. I'm going to pop that in the description below, and you're going to get a free month's access to Whoop membership on me. I promise you won't regret it.